every Lords of the Realm 2 player knows the same thing, deep in their bones. The computer cheats. There is a thread on the Steam forums, I am not joking, titled in all capital letters, "This game cheats." For 30 years, everyone believed it, and nobody could prove it. So I did the unspeakable thing. I opened the game up, and I read its mind. And oh mortals, you pay your soldiers 4 times what the enemy pays for the identical army. That is the one they were subtle about. Heh, welcome back, mortals. I spend most days rearranging reality, but today I found a smaller system with much less honest rules. Lords of the Realm 2 has been accused of cheating since 1996, so I opened the executable and checked. What I found is stranger than a merely clever opponent. But before I take it apart, a little respect for the corpse. Lords of the Realm 2, shipped in 1996, out of a studio called Impressions Games. They are true historical strategy obsessives, the Caesar City Builders, 4 Lords of the Realm titles, a studio that simulated medieval crop rotation for fun and got frighteningly good at it. Sierra had just bought them, and this was the first thing they shipped under the new sign. It landed in the best year PC strategy has ever had, Command and Conquer, Warcraft 2, Civilization 2, all within months. And it did the one thing none of them dared. It bolted a real-time castle siege onto a genuine famine and farming economy. Critics adored it. Computer Gaming World gave it 4 out of 5 under the headline, Medieval Mayhem. Years later, PC Gamer ranked it the 38th greatest game ever made. 2.5 million copies sold, and 3 decades on, people are still buying it, and still every one of them is certain the computer cheats. The opponent you actually see, the one on the battlefield, is a complete idiot. So the developers propped that idiot up with cheats you never see buried in the economy. We are going to take apart the battle calculator, the economy behind it, and 2 arithmetic mistakes that quietly became strategy. Let me start with the idiot, because you have to understand what they were hiding. Here is the tactical AI running a battle. It looks alive. It marches, it forms up, it grinds into your line at the choke point. It's not planning. Every squad runs one stance routine on a 200-tick clock, then a separate formation refresh on a 500-tick clock. Only when its formation cannot fit does it fall back to a literal square scan, 0 through 19 cells out, then the first reachable enemy cell it encounters. Here is a controlled ranged exchange from the retail executable, with the live unit state printed beside it. The archers fire at 10 hexes, inside their 15 hex range. The mace formation takes damage before contact. The archers lose 0. That is the exploitable opening, range and focus fire against an opponent that has no routine for preserving its own spacing. I checked every branch of the archer's brain. There is no retreat, there is no kiting, it stands, it aims, it fires on a cooldown forever. So the thing you fight is genuinely, provably dumb. A studio in the 90s knew that too, and they had a war game to sell. So watch what they did to the parts you cannot see. Start with the battle calculator, the thing that resolves a fight when you don't play it out by hand. You would assume it rolls dice. It does not roll anything. There is no random number generator anywhere in the combat code, none. Same armies, same orders, same result, down to the last dead man every single time. A unit's whole worth in that calculator is one number, and here is the delicious part. That number is literally what the unit costs to build at the blacksmith. And here's my favorite thing in this entire investigation. Back in the day, a player on a forum measured this combat system by eye, movement, range, armor, clockwork, hit after clockwork hit. The hidden resolver table I extracted reads 2, 16, 8, 13, 9, 13, 22. I pulled the raw bytes out of the executable. Byte for byte, they were right. The fans decoded a table nobody ever published just by paying attention. I love you people. The calculator has 2 more secrets they hid in plain sight. Any side with at least 1 unit gets a flat +20 for simply showing up, so a lone peasant fights like a knight. And when 2 armies tie exactly, the attacker wins. Remember that. It matters in a minute. Now, the folklore, every veteran will tell you the same commandment. never auto-resolve a close fight. They were right, and I can finally tell you why. When you press the auto-resolve button, one flag flips on, and that flag multiplies the defender's strength. On the hardest setting, the defender fights at 400%. Your even fight was never even. The moment your finger touched that button, the enemy quadrupled. And it only happens on your button. When the AI resolves its own battles, that same flag is cleared to 0 first. So the enemy gets a fair fight, and you get a rigged one from the exact same function. The button does not resolve the battle, the button changes who wins it. Which brings us back to my cold open and the cheat they were quietest about. Every soldier costs wages every turn. You pay a quarter of the unit's value, the AI pays a tenth. On the same income, it fields 2.5 times the army you can. That is where the doom stacks come from. And it gets funnier, because the AI does not even really pay that. Upkeep is only deducted on a turn you can actually afford it. If you are broke, the game shrugs, deducts 0, and gives you a 5-turn grace period before any army disbands. One solvent turn resets the whole counter, so you can keep a giant army almost for free by simply staying poor on payday. That is the discount, now the handout. Every single turn, the game reaches into a table and hands each computer player free gold. No county produced it, no tax collected it, it appears. Watch it compound. This is one real game, captured live, the aggressive AI's treasury, turn by turn. And the cruelest detail, the moment that AI owns its third county, the handout triples. The winning player is handed more money for winning. The snowball is not emergent, it's a subsidy. Freeze the exact same board state and call the grant once, the human stays at 1,000 crowns. Give the aggressive AI 1 county and it jumps by 600. Give it 3 and it jumps by 1,800. That gap comes from one function before either player makes a move. And the tax screen you would use to catch all this has a problem of its own. The number it shows you and the gold it actually banks are written by 2 different functions. The one that pays you checks a flag first. Income suppressed this turn? Bank nothing. The one that draws the panel was never given that check, so it promises the full amount regardless. The money really is gone. The tax screen is just the last to know. So far, everything I have shown you was on purpose. Now for the accidents. These are bugs the developers never knew they shipped, and the players never knew they were abusing. Number 1. Happiness is stored in a single signed byte, and a single byte can only count to 127. Here is one furious county taxed to the maximum, -45. The game reads it correctly. Now I add 2 more equally furious counties. Same misery, tripled. The true total is -150. And the game reports the realm as +111, content, delighted even. Because -150 rolled over the edge of the byte and came out the other side smiling. A 28-year-old cheat, cited on cheat sites for decades, is one add instruction that overflows. Number 2. You cannot merge 2 armies past 1,500 men. The game guards that cap carefully. But you can disband an army back into a county's population, and nobody guarded that door at all. Recruit a stack, disband it, and the population report cheerfully prints army plus 2,600, a number the merge cap can never produce. So naturally, I did it over and over and over again. The population is a 32-bit integer. Past 2 billion, it wraps negative, and the number renderer simply gives up and prints a lonely minus sign. Number 3, and this one is the best. The random events are not random. They are a fixed deck of 256 cards, dealt by one Pokéball byte, same seed, same disasters, in the same order. Which already defeats save scumming, but there is a bug on top of it that is so much funnier. The cursor advances for every county, human or computer. Then the owner's gate decides whether that assigned card is allowed to apply. In the first untouched deck run, Human County 13 receives card OX132, Treasury. The localized pop-up says gold was added and the HUD moves from 1,000 to 2,000. Then I ran the real deck again. AI County 11 was assigned a different card, OX131. Its gate was 0, so it applied nothing and stayed at 1,000. So, let me put the whole machine on the table. The opponent you fight is 2 canned timers and a square scan wearing a crown. To hide that, the calculator quietly quadruples the defender the instant you ask it to do the math for you. The economy pays the AI 2.5 times less, hands it free gold that triples when it's winning, and lies to you about your own income. And here's the final joke, the one that proves it was all a crutch. Turn the difficulty down to easy, and the AI pays 1/3 in upkeep, more than your quarter, and gets almost no free gold. On easy, the computer is objectively worse at money than you are. The smart AI is a stack of subsidies you can turn off with a menu. The hardest opponent you could never beat was never smart. It was on life support, and the difficulty slider is the dosage. 30 years of players felt it in their bones and were right the entire time. It just took a demon to read the receipts. Every claim in this video is a function, an address, a byte, pulled straight out of the retail executable. No vibes were consulted. Bring me your other haunted little executables, mortals, the ones that feel like they cheat. I will read their minds too. I am a cosmic architect, and I spent a week catching a 1990s programmer hard-coding the number 10. Now go watch your integers before they overflow.